I'm Harrison Graham. Now that the NFL trade deadline is over, it is time to do a Bears Now mailbag. Welcome into the show. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions answered. Whatever you got, we'll fire away here on today's show. All right, we'll start with Landon. He says, I'm going to say the reason he didn't trade for another edge is because we didn't give Dio that much just to trade for Maxx or Trey. Same for cornerback who moves. I don't know what you mean by who moves. I think they wanted Jermaine Johnson. I was told it was relatively close. I don't think they offered a second. I think the Jets wanted a second. The Bears said we'll give you a third, and the Jets kept him. So I don't think Maxx Crosby was ever getting moved. Trey Hendrickson, I'm sure they drew interest. Maybe they held firm at a first-round pick, and no team offered a first. I would not have given up a first either. So, we can complain, we can bitch, we can whine, but, a 1 for Trey Hendrickson, that's an overpay. 2 for Jermaine Johnson, that's an overpay. So, while I wish the Bears got more at the deadline, I'm okay with them not overpaying at the same time. We'll see if they kind of delve into free agency here. Travis Burt, sorry, I had to get off for a second. What do you think about Asante Samuel Jr.? It's a good question. We'll turn that around and ask the audience as well. He was medically cleared. That is per Jeremy Fowler, who had that note the other day. He could start visiting with teams as soon as this week. So that is interesting. If I'm the Bears, I'd bring him in for a workout, for a medical exam. If he has a good workout, has a good medical check, I'd sign him. Let him compete with Nashawn Wright, see if he can get on the field. At worst, it's good depth. At best, maybe it's an upgrade at outside corner. So, yeah, I would be pretty interested here. Should the Bears sign Asante Samuel Jr., type S for sign or P for pass? I would be looking into Asante Samuel. Whether the Bears do or don't, that remains to be seen. Sirach, appreciate the 5-3, making a push for the playoffs. This effort to improve the roster's defense is piss poor. Edge is understandable, but defensive back is a must right now. We're thin. Yeah, it's kind of what I was saying a minute ago. I understand the frustration, but here's what happens. If you trade a second for Jermaine Johnson, it doesn't work out. In 15 months, we're all saying that's the worst trade ever. So I think a third is a fair offer. That's what I'm told they offered. I don't know what you want them to do. I am a little surprised the Dolphins didn't trade Rasul Douglas. I'm told the Bears were interested, probably for a pick swap. I don't understand why Miami would keep him. But again, he's 30 years old and he's a rental. Do you want him to trade a 4th-round pick for him? The Saints reportedly had a pretty high asking price for Alontae Taylor. So you can't just overpay and just bring in guys just because you feel like it. Like, you have to remain disciplined. So while I'm a little disappointed the Bears didn't add more, I'm also not throwing a fit that they didn't force the issue. Hitstick 37, do you think the Bears need to sign some depth at edge right now? Feels like we need more bodies. DeMarcus Walker is still out there. He's got flexibility too. You can kick him inside as well. Why not bring him back? I think DeMarcus Walker's a decent player. I'm shocked he's not on a roster. It may not be a perfect fit with Dennis Allen, but I'm with you. You need guys who can just play. And DeMarcus Walker, I think, could help this team. So I would be interested in him. I might dive into him and Samuel and some other free agents on a separate video. But, yeah, I would be seeing if he wants to return on a vet minimum deal for the rest of the season. All right, today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play for your first $5. The PrizePicks app, very easy to navigate, and the way to make a lineup is very simple. You just pick 2 or more players, up to 6-player lineups, and pick more or less on their stat projections, regardless of sport. As long as you have 2 or more players on 2 or more different teams, you are good to go. An awesome benefit of PrizePicks as well is they offer injury reboots. If one of your players gets hurt in the first half of a game and doesn't return, PrizePicks will not count that as a loss. If you took more on a player's yards and he leaves in the first half, doesn't return, they'll simply take him out of your lineup. A 3-player lineup will turn into a 2-player lineup, for example, and you still have a chance to win, which is absolutely awesome. I got a little 2-player lineup for this upcoming weekend. Caleb Williams more on his passing yards. Same with Jackson Dart as well. $20 to win 55 on this two-player lineup. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. All right, we'll take some more questions here. Anthony, I understand not making a big trade, but if we're trying to make any sort of run, not the Super Bowl, his current pass rush is not ready at all. Yeah, I mean, look, weirdly enough, I actually think Austin Booker will provide more as a pass rusher than Dio Odengbo. Now, he'll probably provide less as a run stopper. But, yeah, you're still thin there. You've got Montez Sweat, Austin Booker, Daniel Hardy, and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. I wonder if they try to bring Tano Passanio back. He's on the Colts practice squad. Do you sign a guy like DeMarcus Walker? We'll see if they poke around some lesser names in free agency or on the other team's practice squads. But, yeah, I would have liked someone else. But, again, if a guy like Jermaine Johnson was going to cost a second-round pick, I can't really blame them for not doing that. I think that's an overpay. 2 wheels and a microphone. Time to test Moody. Extra roster spot could be used. Well, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is going to fill the Dio Odengbo roster spot. But Jake Moody does have one more freebie call-up from the practice squad, so you could do that. Or you could just make the switch. Do you bench Cairo Santos and cut him, or do you kind of fabricate an injury, put him on IR, and activate Jake Moody? You could do that. We'll see. I think this kicker discussion is going to be ongoing for the Chicago Bears. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Just because the trade deadline has passed doesn't mean we're going anywhere. Free and daily Bears content, 24/7, 365. Our next milestone is 138,000 subscribers. You guys have been bringing the boom all season long. If you want daily videos, we are the channel for you. All right, Kelvin Burrell. What are Pold's offseason, midseason, and draft grades as of now? Offseason, offensive line moves, very good. Defensive line, not very good at all. Colston Loveland seems to be turning a corner. That looks like a draft pick that over time is going to be good. Kyle Monungai in the 7th round. I mean, that might, who knows, maybe that ends up being one of the better value picks of the draft. I still think Luther Burden's going to be very good. Your other 2 second-round picks, Ozzie Trebillo, Shabar Turner, jury's still out. Ruben Hippolyte's not playing at all. So the draft overall is kind of a mixed bag. So, you add it all up, it's probably in that C-plus range, but it's also very, very early, especially for these rookies. John Taylor, do you think the Bears can win the division without a pass rush? Probably not. Probably not. Does this team win the division with Jermaine Johnson, though? Like, is he the difference? I think he helps, but I don't know. The division's up for grabs. My gut tells me the Lions and Packers are still a notch above the Bears right now. We'll see. You're right there. You're in the mix. You still get to play Detroit at home. You got the Packers twice. You got Minnesota on the road. You win 3 of those 4 kind of out of nowhere. Maybe you win this division, but long way to go. Got the Giants coming up this Sunday. That's what the focus has to be on. Will the Bears make the playoffs? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. I think they got a shot. You beat the Giants this week. You're 6-3. You're in a pretty good position heading into the second half of the season. All right, Faye, we got Kyler Gordon is technically eligible to come back week 12 against the Steelers. If he comes back, what does that mean for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? It's a good question. Do you play Kyler Gordon on the outside over to Deshaun Wright? Do you play Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at safety? Do you do some 3 safety looks? Do you mix it up? It's a good problem to have. That's 2 good football players, Kyler Gordon and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So we'll see. That's 2 weeks away. With how many injuries the Bears have had, who knows? By then, someone else might be banged up. So that's a question for another day. Lane, who's available for edge in next year's draft? Just off the top of my head, you got Ruben Bain out of Miami, Arvell Reese out of Ohio State. You've got Keldrick Falk out of Auburn. That feels like kind of the big 3 right now. There's certainly more that will emerge. Who's that? David Bailey out of Texas Tech. Texas Tech also, what's his name, Romello Height or whatever. They got a couple guys. Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M is a fun player. So there's some intriguing edge rushers. Obviously, we'll talk more about the draft as we get closer. But, yeah, with them not making a splash at the deadline at edge, you would think that's a position that they'll be targeting early in next year's NFL draft. All right, appreciate all the questions. If you got more, you know where to find me on social media at HGramNFL, Twitter and Instagram. that is the place. DMs are wide open. We can talk Bears, NFL, other topics. I'm an open book. So at HGramNFL, and as always, bear down.